Hello and welcome to Marks and Vincentelli, the only theater podcast that also skis.
Yes,
the two
both
of
of
us.
us.
The two of us are fearsome.
Never on the same slope.
No, it's true. Or, yeah, but it will happen. I can see one day it's going to happen.
But Elizabeth's a better skier.
Well,
Yeah, you are.
until something happens.
Oh, stop.
I don't know. Well, I'm Elizabeth Vincentelli, and I write about theater and many other things for the New York Times.
And I'm Peter Marks, formerly a theater critic for the Washington Post and the New York Times. Today, we've got a double-barreled show, two guests for you, and they're both wonderful actors. New York audiences know them so well.
Oh, yes.
Stephen Boyer and Adam Chanler-Berat, who are still performing for the next couple of weeks in Lauren Yee's play Mother Russia at Signature Theater in Manhattan. My colleague Elizabeth Vincentelli, who you may know, gave the show a absolutely glowing review in the Times, and you know how tough a critic she is, so this was a wonderful endorsement of the show. You may be familiar out there with some of Lauren Yee's other work, especially Cambodian Rock Band, which has been performed all across the country at regional theaters.
Yeah, Cambodian Rock Band actually is really popular in regional theaters. And I'm going to say that Mother Russia is even better. And I think this play will have legs around the country, and it should. It's also, it's 4 characters, and it's very funny. So we can have just one of these two guys on the podcast because in the show they play Evgeny and Dmitry, who are childhood friends from St. Petersburg, who reunite after a few years apart. And the story takes place in 1992, and it involves surveillance, friendship, and the discovery of capitalism. And it's all seen through a comedic lens. And yes, because they play such a tight pair, we were like, let's just have both of them. And there is a scene in particular, which we will talk about, it's in which these two guys eat their very, very first filet o fish, because McDonald's had just come to Russia, and it's an instant classic.
And why don't you mention the other two actors in it that you reviewed so positively?
Oh, I should, yes. David Turner plays the title character, actually, Mother Russia, in this really amazing red getup. And Mother Russia comments on the action in a very strong Russian accent. It's the only one with a Russian accent in the show. And Rebecca Naomi Jones plays a singer who's a former, she has a kind of like shady past, and it's a bit of a love interest for Adam Chanler-Berat's character.
Well, it never really, did they ever really explain why she's being surveilled? I mean, because she was in this.
They do, but I didn't get it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, of course, this is who. I completely didn't get that. So.
Yeah, right. Anyway, these two guys, you're going to enjoy greatly this conversation. They're both smart and funny. And you may remember that Stephen was nominated for a Tony for Hand to God, and once again was a standout as Victoria Clark's hapless dad in Kimberly Akimbo. As for Adam, he burst on the scene as Henry in Next to Normal, playing the boyfriend of Alice Ripley's daughter. Mm-hmm. And he was also extremely good in Peter and the Starcatcher, as well as in the off-Broadway revival, I think it was Classic Stages, right?
Yep, it was.
Of Assassins, Sondheim's Assassins. He played John Hinckley and got to sing Unworthy of Your Love, which is, I think, the great ballad in the show.
Yeah, I agree. And I also saw Adam a few months ago in a wonderful play called Slanted Floors. I have to ask him about, because it was a play done for 6 people at a time. And when I was watching it, I was wondering, what is it like for an actor to act in front of 6 people really, really, really close? And I will also ask, and if you have seen this show, you will be very happy to hear about that. I'm kind of obsessed with this show that Stephen Boyer did a while ago. It was 10 or 12 years ago, called Trevor. And he was playing a chimpanzee. So I can't wait to ask him about that. It's one of my favorite plays of the past 15 years. And I'm serious. Like, this is real. So all these burning questions we have for them, and they're about to answer them. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy that we have both of you here with us. And we both have seen you in so many shows, but we're going to start with the current one, which is Mother Russia, which Peter and I both really, really enjoyed. So let's just start with, like, how did the show come your way? Like, were you both in it from the beginning? Because I think it was done in Seattle, right?
Yeah, it had a couple productions before this one.
And were you both, when did you join?
Boyer, I think we both joined at the same time. Is that right?
Yeah.
Which was a workshop. I think it was in October of 2025. Not that long before we started rehearsals in January. So it just sort of plopped on both of our laps.
Yeah.
Had you worked together before? I don't think you had, right?
No.
No, I was a fan.
As was I of Adam.
Yes, not of us. Like, sorry. So what was it like to work in this? Like, what kind of like exchange and discussions did you have with Lauren? Because the parts are very physical. There's a lot of, it's just a very funny comedy. And I'm specifying very funny comedy because we've all seen comedy that are just kerplunk.
Yeah.
So this
there's
one,
too many of those.
this one does work. And it's a mix of like verbal and physical humor. So how did you refine that?
There's some stuff that's in the script
Mm-hmm.
that Lauren has put in the stage direction. There's the whole fillet of fish sequence that was in there, but little details surrounding that, were up to us. And a lot of the physical stuff just came about because Teddy Bergman, the director, kind of let us do whatever we wanted. I mean, it really felt like he never told us no, which is great. I mean, it's especially great for a comedy. He just trusts his actors and his performers and lets them kind of run wild a little bit. I mean, I can't think of a single time that Teddy was like, that's too much. He just let us go.
It's interesting, there's a brief intro by David Turner as Mother Russia, who's hilarious in this play also.
Genius.
But I was struck, I was thinking as the two of you do your first scene together, you meet in Dimitri's shop, and the energy burst has to be so full on from the very moment you start. And I thought to myself, how does an actor get that head of steam up? Do you have to do something preparatory to be that on in that intense way in the first moments of a play? It's a lot of energy, and I can imagine, exhaustingly so.
Yeah.
Do you two have an exercise that you sort of like do together or separately to get yourselves to that fever pitch that quickly? Or does it come naturally? Is it the adrenaline just pumping?
We share a dressing room, so we gossip in the dressing room beforehand, which is part of kind of lubing up the system.
Sure.
And then we are in the little kiosk box before we start, and I do
on stage.
Anywhere between on stage, while David is upstairs doing his bit, and I do anywhere between 15 and 25 squats to just get my heart rate going. And Boyer is usually futzing with the gun. Sometimes you'll like prep. Sorry, I'm spoiling all of your
no, it's fine.
Actor magic, but prepping the sort of curtain reveal for the surveillance equipment.
I check my props. I never want to pull back a curtain and accidentally rip something off the wall or something. So
sometimes we embrace.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, we're listening to the audience. We're like, oh, what are they like? Are they gonna like this or this?
Yeah.
But I will say that I feel like for me, the prep of getting the energy to start this show just involves a lot of naps during the day. I'm like, I just don't expend very much energy if I can help it, because I know I'll need it later.
Oh, totally.
So you've mentioned, actually, I think I will never forget that scene, but there's that scene, you've already mentioned it, the filet of fish.
Yeah.
But, of course, your characters are Russian and they're discovering this wonderful delicacy, the filet of fish, which they pronounce filet-o fish.
Yeah, filet-o fish.
Filet-o fish.
Mhm.
And there's instead, so you have one for the two of you, and you were like tearing in and just scarfing it down. And I was one.
Well, you have to explain. It's McDonald's, their first taste of McDonald's full.
It's 1992, St. Petersburg, which, by the way, I think actually McDonald's only came to St. Petersburg in 1996, but we're gonna futz that. They're discovering their first filet of fish, and there's one for the two of them, and they have to share it, and they're just going at it in what feels like 30 seconds. It's absolutely fantastic. So how did you work the choreography? Yes.
Well, we have to say, let's just say that I hope that Steven's hands are clean when that scene is done, because there's a reason that they have to be clean, based on what happens in that scene.
Oh yeah. Well,
Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah,
It's filthy. We're disgusting, and I haven't washed my hands since we've started rehearsal, and
yeah.
it just sort of enriches the experience for me.
Totally.
okay, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
but what are you actually eating?
Yeah, so it's pretty disgusting. It's not a filet of fish. It is I'm gluten-free, or I'm gluten-averse, so I asked for a gluten-free bun, and then there is a hash brown that has the center taken out of it, and
To make less matter to actually consume.
to make less to go in. And the whole thing is covered in tzatziki, and then the bun is doused in a little bit of water and a lot of lemon juice. So it's great for acid reflux.
Yevgeny has only purchased one filet of fish
Yeah.
that
Yes.
that he and Dmitri share, and that's sort of the joke is they're both consuming this at a rapid pace.
Yeah.
And I guess some of that is improv. In the amount of shtick that you guys pull off with devouring aspects of this sandwich. No, it's in the script.
Oh, I know we sort of built that, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that's fair to say, Stephen?
Yeah. I can't remember how things came about, but it's not like laid out in the script what exactly we do.
Yeah. There were sort of suggestions from Teddy, our incredible director, who has such a keen sense of humor, and he would say like, lick each other's fingers, and then we would build that, and then he would say like, I love it when it feels sort of in the orgasmic kind of spectrum.
That happens.
Yep.
So someone should take our equity cards away
Listen,
for that.
listen. Here's how real this is. One of the things that's really fun about this show is it really does capture Russia at that moment. We adopted our daughter from Moscow in 1993, so we were there. We were in that world.
Whoa.
And not only that, the whole McDonald's thing is absolutely authentically
Wow.
what was going on in Russia at that time. The exotic idea of a McDonald's. It was the most popular restaurant in Moscow at that moment. So you brought me right back to the chaos, the absurdity, the contradictions of those characters and what they were going through, converting from a command economy to a free market economy. All that was real. I mean, that's the play really does capture that moment exquisitely.
Wow.
I don't know how much you guys talked about that.
Yeah, I heard that that people would get dressed up in their finest, the suits and dresses to go to McDonald's, like it was a fine dining restaurant.
Totally.
One of the things that the show is about is how when you have a society that is changing very drastically and very fast. Stephen, your character is, clearly taking a lot of inspiration from like hip hop videos and Scarface and American gangster movies, and you really capture that so well of someone who's really, Adam is laughing, someone who's really like embracing that with this passion, but also not quite understanding what he's doing.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, that's just me. I just, I just take personally. I take my cues from whatever I see on the internet, and I don't really understand it. So, I just try to incorporate it and move forward, just like Dimitri.
And Adam, your character is more cuddled. The character had a more sheltered childhood. They're two very good friends, but from different classes.
Yeah.
And of course, their trajectories in the new Russia are wildly divergent. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, how did you
Yeah.
work on their relationship? Because it's not easy sometimes to play friends. So you have to suggest guys who know each other really well, but then also don't.
Yeah. I mean, what I always say about it's such a great pair because they're such wonderful foils for each other. It's such an odd match, you know. I feel like if Yevgeny were around today in America, he would like be a member of Nexium, you know. Like he would be duped into joining Nexium and giving all of his family money to it, you know. And you know, I think it's actually a really rich relationship because there's all of this history and there's, you know, they've known each other since they were boys and they used to I think early on in the rehearsal process we talked about them being kind of like camp friends. You know, this idea that they spent summers together and that they like maybe had a very intimate relationship in that moment and then they wouldn't see each other for stretches of time and there's all this interesting class stuff. So it's like these two very in some ways they're so different and in other ways they're so similar. They're very fragile, they're very sensitive, they're very insecure. And I think their insecurities present in such different ways, you know, and that's part of I think it's part of what connects them, but it's also part of the comedy of the show is watching these two very sensitive people kind of like push each other's buttons and are both drawn to each other and sort of despise each other and or are jealous of each other.
That's interesting. We should describe this as a 4-character play. Rebecca plays a singer who gets involved in being surveilled by Steven's character. There's a lot of silly details to the plot. How much before the rehearsal process starts do you conceptualize your characters? How much do you have a sense of what you're going to be doing when you just get a script and you read through it and you've got these juicy roles, you know there's a lot of funny moments. How much of it do you bring into the room before rehearsals start? Or do you have an idea of who they are, a clear idea in your head of who they are? Or do you walk in day one and kind of sort of puzzle it out as you read it with the other actors?
I mean, there's prep that happens before day one of rehearsal, but for me, the vast majority of the work happens in the room. I mean, I don't know until the cast is assembled, until the script changed so many times during the course of rehearsal that you couldn't possibly show up, you know, knowing I'm going to do this because it'll be gone the next day.
Right.
I mean, there were so many jokes, bits, scenes that didn't make it to the final
plot lines, like character traits, you know, real like essential things about who we were.
Oh wow!
It was so heavily written. Yeah.
Is that just a muscle you develop as an actor to be able to like chuck parts of the things that you've internalized, lines that you know, or scenes that you've already sort of like metabolized in some ways, and you have to like get rid of them? Is it just something that you learn to do as an exercise? To be able to pivot that way, to be able to take things out and put other things in as the, you know, what might be already set in your head to some degree.
I mean, you just got to be flexible. When you're developing a new play, I mean, even though this was done 2 other times, it had a different script each time. And, you know, I think this is the script. This is the version that will eventually be published. I think Lauren did so many rewrites because she really wanted to get it exactly the way she wanted it before it was published. So when you're developing a new play, you really do need to be able to roll with the punches.
Mhm.
I mean, stuff can be just like with a musical. It's like, we're going to take that number out tonight. It's like you need to be able to be like, well, I can't be precious about this scene or this line or what have you, because it could be gone.
Mm. And not to take it personally.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though I always kind of feel like, oh, if I would have made them laugh in rehearsal, they definitely wouldn't have cut that. But there's plenty of funny stuff that gets cut.
Yeah, like let me figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Give me another shot. Give me another shot.
Do you find yourself like, are these conversations difficult to have? Like, if you think, well, actually, I do think this should stay because, like, have you find yourself for this show or other shows in a situation where you're like, because you both actually have been in shows where you were really part of a development process and shows that transferred. So you were in them off Broadway and then on Broadway, and often with very drastic. I mean, Adam, you were part of the Next to Normal adventure, and that was, protracted. And Stephen, you were in Hand to God off Broadway, on Broadway. Kimberly Akimbo, same. Like, what is it like to be part of that process where I guess you have to pick your battles, but it's like,
Yeah.
That's it.
how does that work?
Yeah.
You got to pick your battles. I mean, it's ultimately not up to the cast. It's like, there's the interpretive artists and there's the creative artists, and the playwright is the creative artist in the room, and everybody else is just interpreting what they're creating. So it's kind of, the golden rule in a way is just serve the writer.
Mm-hmm.
So if the writer is like, no, I want to take this out, you can make the argument of like, I think that it should be there because of X, Y, and Z, but ultimately it's up to them because it's their play that they are writing, and you can make suggestions, but you're going to want to pick your battles, because if you're making suggestions every hour of every rehearsal day for things that, how to write the play to the playwright, they probably won't want you back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And different rooms have different rules of engagement. Like some writers, like Lauren, is so porous. She's like, give me more, tell me more. What does this feel like from the inside? And then there are other rooms where you feel like you understand the boundary. There's a table and then you don't cross that table. So it's just about being like aware of when you feel like this is a moment, this is a room, this is a team where it feels like it's appropriate to say something, to advocate for your character. And then there are others where it's just like, I'm just here to sort of see someone else's vision and just,
So interesting. I'm curious. We brought up the issue of you guys doing musicals and doing straight plays, and you're both great examples of that versatility, because I have seen you both do plays and do musicals in very distinctive parts, and I still think of the characters that you inhabited in those productions as very much owned by the two of you, between Akimbo and Next to Normal. I mean, for example. And I wonder, how hard is it in terms of your own careers to pivot that way? There was a time when you would get pegged as a musical theater actor or as a straight drama actor. Kevin Kline once told me he wouldn't put musicals on his resume because he was afraid he wouldn't get dramatic parts. But you guys seem to be able to, that's a permeable wall for you. You guys pass through it back and forth. Do you have to be conscious of how much of each kind of genre you agree to do? Or is it more like, whatever the best opportunity that comes by, I do?
I mean, yes. If whatever the best opportunity is that comes by, I'm going to do. Honestly.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it.
Well, I mean, what do you think, Adam? I feel like it's still that way where people are seen as music theater actors or straight play actors.
Yeah.
and often are not seen. I've talked to plenty of people that do musicals and they're like, I can't get seen for a straight play.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of different things. I think part of it is like desire. I think some people just want to be doing only musicals. And then I think another thing is luck. And then it's opportunity, the opportunities that you've been afforded. Like I think I got my equity card doing Next to Normal. I was in college when I got that show. And I think having that be my first job because of the I'm using like quotes here, but seriousness of the musical, it sort of like bridged this kind of gap, I feel like, into the play world. Like it made, I think people, when they would think of me, they would think of me doing like serious work. I'm putting that in quotes because I don't necessarily believe in that, but
Right.
I think that helped me. That being my first big thing kind of like cracked the door open for me. And I wanted to do plays, and I've always sort of felt like I've been a singer, but I've always felt like I identify as an actor first. So I was also excited and happy to be able to do plays and to be able to do both. I really do love that, being able to kind of bounce back and forth. But it's also luck, that happened.
Sometimes I think actually actors are more pigeonholed in terms of their sensibility. Like if you're pegged as a quote unquote comic actor or a dramatic actor, you're not given the chance. And I remember, like, Stephen, when you were doing A Hand to God, I think between the off-Broadway run and the Broadway run, you did King Lear
Yeah.
in Shakespeare in the Park. And what was that like for you to go between those two very, very, very different sensibilities? Like your Lear with John Lithgow, I think. Like, did you feel that there was like a resistance, or like, did you enjoy going between these two?
I feel like I am not alone in enjoying doing lots of different genres and types of work. And it's just the industry that keeps people from doing that, because someone has to give you the opportunity to do it. And so it was a real joy to have that kind of like drop in my lap. It's like, oh, now I get to do Shakespeare, and I haven't had the opportunity to do Shakespeare in 10 years. Not that I didn't want to. It's just someone needs to allow you, someone needs to give you that time and space and to do it. And I felt very fortunate that I was not just pigeonholed as only comedy, only a comedic actor. I think that happened because Hand to God was like this mashup of comedy and drama.
And horror.
Yeah, and horror. And it was a weird genre bending thing. But then, for King Lear, it's like it was The Fool. And The Fool is a mashup of comedy and drama in that play as well. So and in a way, Dmitri is also like, I mean, he is 95% comedy, but like there's a little bit of pathos in there. There's a little bit of something deeper. And I feel very fortunate that I didn't plan it this way, but somehow it has worked out that I've been able to not get pigeonholed as only one thing.
Did you feel the same, Adam? Because like a show that you did not long ago was called Slanted Floors. And I wanted to talk about that because that was a show that you did with Carl Bertrand for only 5 or 6 people at a time. It was in a 1-bedroom, and a small one, a small 1-bedroom.
All the way in Greenpoint.
Yeah, in Greenpoint for a very, very small audience. And I would find that terrifying. I was actually nervous watching the show because I thought, oh my God, what if something, I don't know, I had such performance anxiety on your behalf.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like a rake when I saw it. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but I was really nervous because I thought, oh my God, like we're so close to them. And it's just, it was completely weird.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. What was it about?
It's actually, describe it if you can describe it, Adam.
I'm going to try. I don't know if I can, but it's a site-specific micro theater piece about a sort of creative couple, gay couple living in Brooklyn, and you just kind of watch them go about their days and then sort of mesh those days together. And it's about queer domesticity and being a creative person and then also being a human being and how to marry those two things. And it was a very gratifying, incredible experience. I will never forget it because it was such an immediate, exchange between the audience and the actors. There were 6 audience members a night, and there were 2 of us, and
Whoa.
we were
Steven just made a face. I think we're like,
and we were all in a living room together. So and there was, for most of, I don't want to spoil
Was
it.
Ryan
because,
Spawn in this with you?
No, that was a different micro theater.
That was a different
site-specific
micro
piece,
theater.
yeah.
Site-specific thing. Okay. There's only 2.
It's the new way.
Micro theater. Oh my
Wow.
God.
It was really fun.
Sometimes things are micro theater by accident. It's like, you know what I mean?
And then they close.
This was intentional. Intentional.
but there was at one point in the show, you guys were serving us dinner.
Yeah.
Like we were eating, like it was soup and what else was it? I can't remember, but like it was
like
Filetto fish.
soup and
filetto fish. Yeah,
it was soup and focaccia bread and
that's right. Yeah,
and like there was a little bite, like a little amuse-bouche
There was a little
before.
dessert.
Yeah, and then there was a cookie at the end you
Yeah.
got to take for the road.
yeah.
Wow, that sounds so cool.
It was really wild.
Yeah, we may have an opportunity to do it again.
Oh, really? Wow. In the same apartment? Because that was small.
Yeah, we're working on it. Yeah, we'll see.
Oh, that was very cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, the problem with this kind of show, it has to be small.
Yes.
But then at the same time, it's like you want people to see it, but it's by definition very, very limited. So unless you do it for 100 years,
Yeah.
so you can get to like.
Right. Exactly.
And I wanted to talk to Stephen about like one of your shows that I really loved, and I've been waiting for a revival for like 10 years now. It was Trevor.
Oh,
Trevor was a show in which you played a chimpanzee, if I remember correctly.
yeah.
And
Yeah, we tried to move that. We tried to move it to Broadway.
really?
We tried.
What, serious? Like, what happened?
It didn't happen. You know what happened with that show? They ended up doing a production in Los Angeles with Laurie Metcalf and Jimmy Simpson.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then there was talk of maybe that was going to move to Broadway with Laurie Metcalf and Jimmy
Okay,
Simpson.
can you tell us a little bit, because that was a show, I think that was by Nick Jones, right? Because you had done The Coward it was you and Jeremy Strong.
Yeah, Jeremy Strong and Stephen Ellis.
Yeah, that was crazy. And so that was after The Coward. And can you tell us a bit about that? Because I love that show. That show was so special.
It was a very special show. It was based on 2 different things. One of which is the true story of Oprah Winfrey had a woman on her show who had been attacked by an adult chimpanzee that was living next door to her with a woman. And the woman lived with this chimpanzee like this chimp was her husband. They would eat dinner at the table together. They would have wine together. They would sleep in the same bed together. She let him drive her car sometimes.
Yeah.
But then when a chimpanzee gets old enough, they stop being a cute showbiz chimpanzee that you can dress up, and they become very aggressive, and they have the strength of 10 men. So it attacked her neighbor and ripped off her hands and her face.
Oh.
That's what really happened. Nick Jones took this incredible story and wrote a play about it where the chimpanzee is the main character. No one can understand what the chimpanzee is saying, and the chimpanzee really can't understand what anyone else is saying. And to the chimpanzee, his story is Willie Loman from Death of a Salesman. He is a showbiz chimp that thinks he's on the outs and can't wait to get back on top. And, his uncle chimp went to Hollywood and came out and he was a millionaire. And he's like, we got to do it. We got to, they're going to see, they're going to understand. And it drives him to this crime.
It was amazing.
And, and the woman he's living with is like, respect must be paid
Yes.
to Trevor.
Yeah.
He is, and it's incredible when people don't realize that the entire structure of that play is death of a salesman.
Yeah.
That Nick just picked up and put on top of another story, and it blows your mind when you hear that. It was great.
And the Twilight Zone aspect of that is now Laurie Metcalf is playing Linda Lohman on Broadway.
Oh my
That's
God.
right. When is she not?
It's
I
true.
feel like there should be a Laurie Metcalf joke in Mother Russia. Mother Russia needs to like have some beef with Laurie Metcalf.
Yes.
Absolutely.
God.
Yes. The David Turner monologue.
my
God. Right.
Absolutely.
She should do the David Turner monologue at Miscast.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that. Oh my God, thank you. It's like my mission now. Like I want to talk about Trevor until people get so sick that they're like, fine, we're gonna do it.
Nick thinks that he's like, that's my best play.
Mm.
Really. I mean, he's written a lot of stuff since then, but he's like, I think Trevor's my best.
Yeah, your physicality in it was just fantastic. I was wondering, like, can you tell us about some roles or encounters that have been really key in your development as an actor? Like Adam, like when you were in Next to Normal that early in your career, that clearly is there's a before and after. People end up spending, weeks or months doing a particular play or musical. And how does that change you?
Yeah. I feel like obviously Next to Normal was such a huge thing for me. So formative in so many different ways, and I'm so grateful for that. I was so lucky that happened. But I was also so young when it happened, and I feel like a lot of that experience I was just kind of in like a white knuckled, dry mouth, like, do I belong here kind of imposter syndrome hole, not to say all of that experience, but a lot of it. And so, I think the next big thing for me was Peter and the Starcatcher, and Teddy Bergman, who's our director for Mother Russia, was in that with me, and I was with Celia Keenan-Bolger and Christian Borle and Greg Hildreth and all Kevin. Oh my God, I'm forgetting Kevin's last name right now. I'm sorry, Kevin. It was such an incredible group of artists, and like still, when I'm in a rehearsal process, I'll be like, I will just think to myself, like, what would Celia do? Or what would Christian do? And just remembering how they work and what their process was like. And more importantly, how they just were in a room to be with, and how they were leaders and led with like such grace and humanity and respect and delight and humor and joy. And so that's what came up for me.
I have to just say, by the way, Adam, my daughter, the show that changed her life was Next to Normal, and she has to play the album. This is the God's honest truth every day of her life. She starts every day with Next to Normal.
Every day still?
For years and years and years. This has been going on.
Every day.
Every day still. I'm not kidding. Yes, every day still. No. That's how profound an impact it had on her.
That show really found a way to burrow underneath people's skin. Like, it was so many years ago, but I still have so many people come up to me and recognize me for that more than any of the other work I've done, and it's a testament to that material,
Yes,
and
right.
the power of that, like, production, I think, was really special. Yeah.
Okay, Stephen, do you think you're going to get away with not answering that question? It's okay. We're not going to force you.
Sly.
I know, it's so hard just picking one.
I mean, the before and after for me is doing Hand to God. I mean, the thing is that show started at EST at like a ensemble studio theater in like a 70 seat black box with mice running around in it. And and like a real shithole. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad at the time. And I was like, sure, because I'm like, yeah, let's do this because it seems like it's going to be fun. But up until that point, I'd been out of school and trying to make a living as an actor for 12 years at that point, 10, 12 years. And it was, hadn't really gained any traction. It was still like a rarity that I would book something and get a run under my belt. And then I was in my 30s when I got cast to be, a teenager. And I was like, well, thank God this worked out, thank God. Because it's just, because I was running out of time. I was running out of time to play that part. and I was running out of time to like stay in the business, honestly. I mean, I just hadn't had any, there was nothing that gave me any assurance that I would have another job when a job ended. And then Hand to God was at EST, and then, was extended and extended and extended. And, but then it was a year and a half or 2 years before it moved, and MCC decided to do it at the Lortel, and which eventually led to Broadway. So, we even thought it was dead. It was like another thing. It was like, well, that could have been a great opportunity, but it went away just like everything else goes away. And then it came back after we had forgotten about it. And it changed my life because there was just no consistency with work whatsoever before that.
It's so wonderful, the serendipity of theater, the things that you can't predict, the path they're going to take, the things that take off, the things that audiences dictate a future for. It's that wonderful mystery that still exists. And then we see you both in Mother Russia, another piece that's improbable in all its dimensions. And God knows, what happens from here. But it's wonderful that you've both had those kind of formative, extraordinary experiences in roles that you created that become part of the texture of and the history of theater. I mean, it's remarkable. And it's one of the wonderful things about your profession. So it's really fun to hear about it.
Well, we should let you go prep and do your calisthenics before
my nap.
Your nap.
Yeah, Stephen's going to sleep.
Stephen's
going to sleep.
I am gonna sleep.
And
That's what's going to happen.
Adam's going to go do a climbing wall or something.
Yeah. I'll go take a CrossFit class.
Wow. Impressed.
And that's why the chemistry works so well.
There you go.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
What a pleasure.
It is
thank you.
one of my favorite shows of the spring, for sure. So I
That's
am
great to hear.
psyched. And I've been such a fan
That's so nice.
of both of you for years. So that's very, very satisfying to see. And the play got really good reviews. So I kind of hope they would extend it even more, but I will. That's the price of seasons, I guess.
It's at Signature Theater through when?
And the show is at Signature Theater in New York until March 29th. Thanks again for dropping by.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and that's it for us for now. The season's ramping up, and of course that means we are too. One side note, Elizabeth, that I wanted to address on a personal note. A friend of mine of many years named Lee Belzer died recently. Lee and I went to hundreds of plays and musicals together. He was kind of the ideal plus one. Started out as a theater companion and became one of my closest friends. We bonded over the theater, and it was a wonderful part of my life. He was for many, many years. And I just wanted to acknowledge that that he was that important. And I'll always look at the second seat. And if my wife is not in that seat or another friend is not, I will always think of Lee
Oh,
on those glorious nights. So
that's a lovely. I know you've mentioned Lee so many times. I feel like I don't think I've ever met him, but
you probably did, but he was because he was, it was just very, very many nights that he was with me. So, yeah.
No, I know I'm really sorry to hear that because
Thanks.
you were talking about him so much
Hmm.
in many ways. So, but
Yeah.
you did get to see a lot of theater with him, and that's a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. And he had opinions. And sometimes I had to ignore him completely. And sometimes we agreed. So, yeah, there's that.
Okay, if I may ask, are you the kind of person who chats with their plus one when you're reviewing a show, or do you
Absolutely, yes. I did not believe in this idea of I live in a Skinner box and, people could not poison or influence or contaminate my experience of a show. I always thought that was an odd prescription that some people had. Because
I mean, to each their own, but like
Right.
whatever works for you. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I was never worried. And in fact, if someone said something really pithy, I'd go, I'm stealing that. So
I've done
I
that
was
too.
shameless, of course.
Yeah.
But I know that there are critics and people, who in our field, my former field, your present field, who will not tolerate being influenced in any way by the person they're with.
Oh, yeah, no, and it's equally valid, but I'm in your camp of I will. I wait until I'm at a safe distance, but
Right. Of course. Of
Yeah.
course. Of course.
I will. Yeah, I cannot wait to hear what the others are thinking. I feel like I'm secure in my opinion that I know it's not going to be. My opinion is what it is,
Indeed.
and I do tell people, oh, I'm going to steal that. That's really good.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Anyway,
So, all you folks out there, we'll remind you that you can follow us on social media,
yes.
where we use our real names. So, we're easy to find. You can also go to marksvincentelli.substack.com to follow us. And please, please consider becoming a paying subscriber. How else, one has to ask, is Elizabeth Vincentelli going to have the money, the extra money to pay for all those risotto balls she's eating at West Bank Cafe? And that's no reflection. She's very fit for skiing. Has nothing to do.
But they're delicious.
They are a protein, I think. A risotto ball's protein? I don't know.
Listen, it is my energy bar. Like some people eat a Cliff Bar to strengthen themselves before a show. I'm gonna go for the risotto bowls. And I want to emphasize this is not a paid endorsement, which is crazy because at this point it should be.
Yeah, I know. I know.
But I'm still going there and paying for my own balls, which are delicious. And I think I have to be every time I'm at a show at like Signature, or fortunately there's tons of shows in that area. I'm like, I think I might be there at the counter
yeah,
getting those delicious.
But did you like Mother Russia more than risotto balls?
Oof! Don't listen.
All right,
this
sorry.
is Sophie's
No,
choice.
it's-
Don't
Yeah, I hear
make
ya.
me pick
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I got it. Okay.
I mean, the ideal evening is risotto bowls and then Mother Russia, which is pretty much across the street. Like almost across, not quite, but almost across the street. So like close enough. Like you can totally do it. And sit at the counter. It's the best place to go.
That's two critics' picks.
Yeah, that's two critics'
critics.
picks. Oh my God. Anyway, thanks to our ace producer, Adam Gold, and to Robin Sutherland, who has the patience to do an Instagram account with two people who never think of taking photos. That's us. Like we're just so not clued in. We gotta do it more. In fact, next time, I think I had taken photos of, the orbs that I so like, but they were such crap quality that I think even Robin was like, no, I can't put that up.
The pictures, not the balls.
The pictures,
Yeah,
the pictures.
got it, got it,
And, also they disappeared so fast that
Didn't have time to really memorialize it.
I would have been like making a Richard Attenborough doc to capture the speed with which I move like a cheetah on those risotto balls. I have lost my mind. Too much theater.
And it's just starting.
I know. And we'll be back soon. We have a couple of guests. We're aiming for another twofer that we've been trying to schedule for weeks now. I'm telling that to our listeners because they're like, where are they? You've been promising great guests. No, we've been trying to schedule them. We're running into a scheduling issue, but we're going to solve it very soon because I'm super excited to talk to this too as well. So in the meantime, stay warm because it's getting cold again here in New York. Go see some shows, and we will be in your ears soon enough.